Between 1935 and 1938, a killer stalked the streets of Cleveland, Ohio, leaving behind a trail of headless, dismembered bodies that would baffle even America's greatest detective. To this day, nobody knows who he was or if he ever truly stopped killing. The first discovery, September 23, 1935. Two boys playing near Kingsbury Run, a desolate ravine cutting through Cleveland's poorest neighborhoods, stumbled upon something that would haunt them forever. Two headless bodies lay in the weeds, completely nude, drained of blood, and dismembered with surgical precision. The victims were two young men. One was identified as Edward Andrassy, 29, a small-time criminal. The other remained nameless. But what shocked investigators wasn't just the brutality, it was the skill. These weren't crude hacksaw cuts. The decapitations were performed at the natural joints between vertebrae, the work of someone with intimate knowledge of human anatomy. The heads were never found. A pattern emerged. Over the next 3 years, at least 12 more bodies appeared across Cleveland. Some researchers believe the true count may be as high as 20. The killer's signature. Every victim was decapitated, most were dismembered while still alive, bodies were drained of blood before being dumped, cuts were precise, made with surgical instruments. Some victims showed signs of chemical preservation. The victims were society's invisible, drifters, prostitutes, homeless men and women living in the shantytown around Kingsbury Run. People nobody would miss right away. Key victims. Florence Palillo, January 1936, a 42-year-old barmaid whose dismembered body was found in burlap baskets behind a factory. Her landlady reported that a well-dressed man in a large car had been asking for her days before she vanished. The tattooed man, June 1936, found with 6 distinctive tattoos on his head, yet despite nationwide publicity, he was never identified. His companion, another headless male body, was discovered nearby. Jane Doe number 8, February 1937. A woman's torso pulled from Lake Erie showed traces of embalming chemicals. This changed everything. The killer had access to professional preservation equipment. Enter Eliot Ness. Cleveland's director of public safety was none other than Eliot Ness, the legendary lawman who took down Al Capone. Fresh from his Chicago triumph, Ness assembled an elite task force, installed better lighting in Kingsbury Run, and interviewed thousands of witnesses. The killer responded by accelerating his pace. Bodies appeared practically under police noses, as if the murderer was taunting them. Detective Peter Mario became convinced he's watching us. He knows our patrol schedules. Some investigators began to whisper the unthinkable. Could the killer be connected to law enforcement? How else would he know when to strike? The prime suspect, Dr. Francis S. Sweeney, a brilliant but troubled surgeon from a prominent Cleveland family. Why he fit? Expert surgical knowledge and access to embalming chemicals, had a private office near Kingsbury Run. He was known alcoholic with violent tendencies. His cousin was a powerful congressman, Eliot Ness's political enemy. The timeline matched perfectly with the murders.
The secret interrogation. In August 1938, Ness personally questioned Sweeney for days at the Hotel Cleveland. Sweeney was given a primitive lie detector test and showed clear deception when asked about the murders. But Sweeney's powerful family made prosecution impossible. Instead, they had him quietly committed to a mental institution, where he remained for most of his remaining years. The creepy epilogue. After being institutionalized, Sweeney allegedly sent taunting postcards to Ness for years. One supposedly read, "You tried so hard to catch me, Mr. Ness, but I was always smarter. I was always watching." Other suspects. Frank Dolezal, a bricklayer arrested in 1939 who confessed after brutal interrogation. He neither had the skills nor strength for these murders. Before trial, he mysteriously hung himself in his cell. Many believed he was murdered to close an embarrassing case. The meatpacker, a butcher fired for disturbing behavior who vanished when police came to question him, leaving behind crude surgical tools and anatomy diagrams. The chicken freak. Multiple witnesses described a strange man who walked with his arms held close to his body, like a chicken, lurking around dump sites. He was never identified. Ness's desperate move. August 18, 1938. With public panic at its peak and his reputation crumbling, Ness made a drastic decision. At 1 a.m., police descended on Kingsbury Run's shantytown and burned it to the ground, displacing hundreds of homeless residents. His reasoning? Remove the hunting ground, remove the threat. The murders stopped immediately, but the victory was hollow. Ness was crucified in the press for his brutality. His political career ended. He became an alcoholic and died broke in 1957. The torso murders, his greatest failure. Friends said he was haunted until death, keeping a locked file on Dr. Sweeney. In his final drunken years, Ness would tell anyone who'd listen, "I know who it was. I know, but I could never prove it." Did the killer move on?
Similar dismemberment murders occurred before and after the Cleveland spree. Newcastle, PA, 1925, 3 decapitated bodies. Pittsburgh, 1936 to 1940, several headless torsos in the river. Chicago, 1950s, dismembered bodies with surgical precision appeared after Sweeney was released from the hospital and moved there. Was this the same killer operating for decades across multiple cities? Modern investigation. DNA analysis. In 2001, Dr. Sweeney's body was exhumed for DNA comparison. His remains were too decomposed for conclusive testing. Geographic profiling. Modern software mapped the dump sites, suggesting the killer lived or worked in a specific 3-block radius that included Dr. Sweeney's former office. The unidentified victims. Despite modern forensic databases, most victims remain nameless. They were society's forgotten, people who fell through the cracks. The theories. Theory 1. Sweeney acting alone. The evidence fits. Surgical skill, timeline, access to space and chemicals, the postcards, and family protection explain why he was never caught.
Theory 2. Medical experimentation. What if this wasn't murder for gratification, but for experimentation? The clinical precision and chemical preservation suggest someone testing techniques or practicing procedures. In the ethically loose 1930s medical world, this is disturbingly plausible. Theory 3. Political cover-up. Sweeney's family connections, missing evidence files, Frank Dolezal's convenient suicide, and witnesses who disappeared suggest powerful people protected the killer. The psychological profile. Modern profilers describe the killer as highly intelligent and meticulously organized, narcissistic, the taunting behavior, likely a functional member of society with job and family, driven by power, control, and possibly sexual gratification. Someone who selected victims carefully from society's margins. The legacy. Detective Merillo continued investigating until his death in 1958, his basement a shrine to the case. His final words, "He won. The bastard won." The case changed American law enforcement, advancing forensic pathology, intercity cooperation, and early serial killer profiling techniques. But more importantly, it taught us that evil can hide behind a respectable face, living among us undetected. The evidence that remains. Locked in Cleveland police archives. Preserved tissue samples, crime scene photographs,
Ness's personal files on Sweeney, the mysterious postcards, surgical instruments from various suspects. Modern investigators repeatedly request access to re-examine this evidence with current technology. Their requests are often denied. Why? The final mystery. Dr. Francis Sweeney died in 1965 in a veterans hospital. He's buried in an unmarked grave in Cleveland's Calvary Cemetery. No headstone, no memorial. Just grass. His hospital records from his final years remain sealed. What did he say? Did he confess? Did he remain silent? We'll never know. Epilogue. The killer who got away. Official victim count, 12 to 13 confirmed. Possible total, 20 to 30 victims. The Cleveland torso murderer was never identified, never prosecuted, never punished. He simply vanished into history. Kingsbury Run today is largely paved over, but locals say the area still feels wrong. Urban explorers report unexplained sounds, cold spots, and an overwhelming sense of dread. The case remains officially open. It will never be closed. Because you can't close a case where justice was never served. Some mysteries are never solved. Some killers are never caught. And some evil simply gets away with it. The Cleveland torso murders stand as a chilling reminder that even in modern times, with all our technology and expertise, the perfect crime is possible. Someone committed a series of horrific murders, taunted law enforcement, and walked away free. He lived his life, he died in his bed, and he took his secrets to an unmarked grave. That's the most terrifying part of all.